All right, people are now coming out to say the truth that Nigeria has different nations inside it, that Nigeria is supposed to be disseminated so that people can stay on their own. Yes. And aside that, they are now calling on the United States, calling on the United Nations Secretary General and the rest to come to the aid of Nigeria before things get so bad.
This country, this entity called Nigeria, is a combination of different nations that should have existed as nations, but were brought together. So Nigeria is not the combination of different or the amalgamation of different ethnicity. No, it is a combination or the amalgamation of different nations that have different cultures, different understanding, different lifestyle, different traditions, everything different. People that naturally should not exist together were brought together, amalgamated in 1914 by the British for the purpose of resource control.
Today, my advocacy goes straight to the United Nations Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, and all the 5 permanent members with veto powers. That is in respect of China, Russia, France, UK, and United States of America. Those are the 5 permanent members. I am seeking the audience of these 5 permanent members in Nigeria to help us to stop the Islamization that is currently ongoing in Nigeria. The aborted 1804 jihadist movement is reloading.
All right, the truth is now very clear that people are now saying it outside so that everybody will hear, unlike before when it be like saying only Igbo people, they talk the truth. But now other Nigerians, the Yorubas, the Northerners, everybody has joined the bandwagon to say that Nigeria is a scam. That the country is supposed to be, divided. That is the popular opinion now. And they are saying it, calling on Trump, calling on the United Nations to come and hear. And this is what the government of Nigeria failed to do since that Ojukwu was, advocating since 1960s. He was advocating it, that this is the solution to Nigeria. The whole of Africans came together in Aburi Accord and said this is the solution to Nigeria, having seen what is happening in Nigeria and having studied Nigeria. Africans come together and say, no, this is the solution to Nigeria. Let people be on their own. Somebody outside Nigeria, because of their personal interests, said no. Somebody convinced somebody convinced somebody. That is how we mumbled together, and this problem persisted up to today. Something that has been happening decades. Now it's very obvious that everybody is now shouting everywhere. Let's watch this. Come back and continue.
Dear President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu Benjamin of the country of Israel, my name is Apostle Michael Olowokere. I serve in the ministry of an apostle in God's Vineyard here in Nigeria. And I want to crave your indulgence for this message that I'm directly sending to you, to please listen to it carefully. And I trust the Lord is going to speak to your heart to take decisive decisions on how to help us in Nigeria. I'm sure you are aware of all that is happening in Nigeria. I'm very confident that you're not ignorant of them. But I find it necessary because the evil in this country has continued to prevail even to this moment. And if we do nothing about this, I'm afraid that the destiny of Christians in Nigeria is at stake. And the fate of Christians in Nigeria within the next 20, 30 years is not something we can begin to imagine, because it is going to be very horrible. This country, this entity called Nigeria, is a combination of different nations that should have existed as nations, but were brought together. So Nigeria is not the combination of different or the amalgamation of different ethnicity. No, it is a combination or the amalgamation of different nations that have different cultures, different understanding, different lifestyle, different traditions, everything different. People that naturally should not exist together, were brought together, amalgamated in 1914 by the British for the purpose of resource control. And this unholy marriage has brought a lot of calamity to this nation, Nigeria. This country has known no progress. There's never been unity. There's never been love. Whenever you hear they say one Nigeria, the concept of one Nigeria is a scam, is a mirage, and it is not true. But I'll be speaking basically this morning simply because I am a man that is fed up. Why am I fed up? Because the evil in this nation has prevailed for too long. And I'm afraid that the level we are at this time is not something we can begin to imagine, because these people we live together in this country, these people that force themselves into this nation are working tooth and nail to ensure that they bring Nigeria to an Islamization state, to Islamize and to Fulanize Nigeria. And this is why it is important this morning that I bring this message to you, so that you will learn, you understand, even though I know you are aware of this before all this, because your nations, the nation of Israel and the nation of United States, are a nation that God has blessed with resources, capacities, and abilities to gather adequate information. So there is nothing that I'm saying this morning that I think you are not aware of. In 1908, between 1804 and 1808, a man called Usman Danfodio invaded the northern part of Nigeria long before the amalgamation, invaded through the process of jihad, bringing jihad, Islamization jihad, to Islamize the northern part of Nigeria. And he succeeded, conquered the Hausa race. The Hausas and indigenous people of the land, but they were conquered by Usman Danfodio in 1808. And from that conquest, from that invasion, and his victory led to what today you hear of Hausa Fulanis. So the Hausas were completely conquered race, completely conquered ethnicity. They were conquered by Usman Danfodio through Islamization and through the process of jihad. And even though he intended to continue with this process all over the country, he couldn't. But after a while, a man called Afonja, that serves under the Oyo kingdom, the kingdom of Old Oyo, in those days, made a partnership with a man called Malam Alimi, a Fulani man, to help him to fight. And I think the deal was, after the war, he was going to settle down in his land. And that was exactly what happened. And today we have Fulani ethnic in Kwara State. Also, this was what brought about establishment of a caliphate, the Emirates, the caliphate in this northern Nigeria. So where the Sultan now being both the spiritual head and the father figure to all northern Hausa race, Muslim race, or people like that. But this union has brought nothing but chaos. And for a long time, they've been agenda to Islamize this nation, to turn Nigeria to what today we have as a Turkey, or to a Lebanon, and those nations that used to be a Christian nation, to turn into a Muslim nation. And what I'm talking to you about this morning, it didn't start 10 years ago. It didn't start 20 years ago. It didn't start 30 years ago. This is something that the ancestors of these people have seen and they have put in motion for the past 40, 50, 60 years in Nigeria, or more than that. And I want to tell you that this time they are succeeding, because the process of jihad is in full force. But let me, for clarity's sake, there are different ways nations are being Islamized. They can be Islamized, the process include, number one, movement. They're moving either by migration, what we have today in Europe and in America, by migration. They migrate. And in that stage, when they are small, when they are little, they are peaceful. But after a while, they move to the next stage, which is the process of population. They try to give birth to as many as possible and invite more people to come and dwell there. But when they have gotten to a certain number, gaining momentum, population-wise, they move to the third stage, which is the stage of gaining authorities in government. They position themselves strategically in key government positions, and they overwhelm the nation with themselves. And you have almost every sector of the country, or every sector of the country's economy, filled with them, making critical decisions. And this is what you have even in America and some other parts of Europe, most part of Europe, especially and most especially in the UK. Now, when they have done that, the next stage is to enforce laws that will permit them to bring to pass or to bring into realizations the agenda of Islamization. And that is when they bring institutionalized Sharia. This stage was achieved in Nigeria between 1999 and 2000, where 12 states in northern Nigeria adopted Sharia as their ruling laws, as against the Nigerian constitution. So they bring it together, but predominantly they function by the Sharia law. And this has caused nothing more than chaos. I cannot begin to tell you the amount of lives of Christians that have been lost in this. But my main point today is, few days ago, the people that were displaced in Goza local government, in a village called Ngoshi, have been living as IDP in the border of Cameroon for over 10 years. Were promised by the government to return back to their land. And they returned back two nights ago, and they were all massacred. They were killed. You will see the pictures and the videos down here, sirs. They were killed, they were annihilated, they were beheaded, they were destroyed. Their properties, the village was completely destroyed. Now we have people that are responsible for this, which you know them. The dreadful Boko Haram. Then you have the Fulani jihadists that are working tooth and nail to ensure they continue with the mandate or what Usman Danfodio couldn't complete, and to ensure that they, for one purpose, both Fulani S-men and the Boko Haram and the Lakarawas and every part of this terrorists are all working towards one goal and one goal alone: to turn Nigeria to an Islamic nation. This is why you find out that Nigeria is a member of OIC, Organization of Islamic Cooperation. Nigeria is supposed to be a secular state based on the Constitution of Nigeria. However, this is not the case. Nigeria is more of an Islamic state, or more of like an Islamic nation, than a secular nation, where you have both about 50% Christians and 50% Muslims being the predominantly practiced religions. However, the Christians have been subjugated. There have been genocide every part of this nation, especially in the north and in the middle belt part of Nigeria. The churches have been burned in their thousands and thousands. People, Christians, the vulnerable Christians, locals that are Christians, have been killed in their thousands and thousands. And you think you are the people that have been supporting this vision. There are people up there, the sultans, the men in government. And we have had many of them, including the late man Buhari, the President Muhammad Buhari, was part of the people that have been facilitating these things to ensure they bring the nation of Nigeria on its knees to submit to Islam. And now they're in the final stage of jihad. This is why you find out that there is killings and killings. I want to tell you, even though we see what is happening presently, what you're doing presently in Iran, the killings and lives that have been lost in Nigeria is 3 times more than what you have in Iran or any part of the world. Nigeria stands today as the most persecuted nation for Christians, where Christians have become endangered species. And I'm talking from experience, because I was born and raised in the north, and I understand these things. And I'm bringing it to your attention this morning because at this time, critical things need to be done. Now, there's a video you're going to see on this screen now. It's a video of soldiers, Nigerian soldiers, that were beheaded a few days ago. They were decapitated. Their heads were being used as ball. Look at it there. My question this morning, sirs, is how long will this evil prevail? How long are we going to remain in this stage? The nation of Nigeria have good military men, but lack the political will and the will to fight, because the military have been infiltrated by jihadists. The government have been infiltrated by jihadists. Every part of Nigeria is infiltrated by jihadists. And if nothing is done at this time, in 20 years from today, I am afraid that we might not have Christians again in Nigeria. I'm pleading, look at this, the head of these people here. These are people's brothers. These are people's husbands. This is somebody's son. These are people's sons. These are people's neighbors. These are people's friends. But they were beheaded. Look at. So you will know that we are not one in this nation, and we can never be one. How could somebody become an animal to treat his fellow human being this way? How could somebody behave? This is a beastly act. Such people do not deserve to live among men. Therefore, I am calling for you to intercede as soon as possible in Nigeria. 2 things I want to say this morning. Number 1, is either the government of Nigeria permits the citizens to legalize arms, where citizens can own arms to protect themselves, because the Nigerian government have failed woefully to protect our citizens. The Nigerian military cannot. They are doing very little in protecting the citizens. So it's either you make the government of Nigeria to permit that every citizen of this nation, as many as that have the means, obtain a means of defending themselves. Because you see, the right to life is a fundamental human right. And every human has the fundamental right, both before God and before the nation, to protect themselves. So legalize it, talk to the government and oppress them. Because the government of Tinubu has sold out all the nations to the jihadists, where the government of a nation pays ransom in tunes of millions and millions to terrorists. And with this ransom, they have the means to obtain more rifles, more weapons to terrorize Christians. And now, even Muslims alike, those that are moderate Muslims, those that are not adherent to the principles of Sharia, those that do not submit to the principles of Sharia that are Muslims, are even being killed at this time. Because their goal is one, to make Sharia the only law for a nation, for Nigeria, and also to Islamize the nation. So Nigerians must protect themselves. Please make it that the nation of Nigeria can protect themselves, that every citizen, as much as possible, as many as they can own rifle, can own weapon to protect themselves. Or the second option, this nation should divide. Everyone should go their way, because you see, there is no time the nation have been one at all. The concept of one Nigeria has been a mirage. It's been forceful. It's been lies from the pit of hell. And this has brought a lot of chaos. Lives have been destroyed in court scores. I am pleading with you, President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, help Nigerians. Come to the rescue of Christians in Nigeria. What you see in Iran is very, very little to what is happening in Nigeria. Every single day, there is hardly a day, hundreds and tens and thousands of Christians are not being killed, especially in the middle belt, in the northern part of Nigeria, and now, even in the southern part of Nigeria, in the southwest, where where worshippers in the church have been abducted, kidnapped, and killed, where churches have become, they have no regard for churches. They go into churches and they kill people. This has been for years, for decades. I'm sure you are aware of everything I'm talking about. But as a concerned Nigerian, and as a man that serves in the vineyard of God, I call upon you this morning. Come to the age of Nigerians. Rescue this nation from the hands of terrorists, from the hand of jihadists. If you don't do anything at this time, I believe that what you have at the position you are today, because God has placed you there, and I see what you do, and that's why I call you God's servant. Because I believe that what you are doing now is the will of God, to restore some sanity back to the insanity in the world, especially in nations that support terrorism, that finance terrorism, like Nigeria, where government paid ransom. And we have key men that have risen high in government, that have played strategic role, that have played strategic and still play. They are instrumental to the establishment of Boko Haram. They were instrumental to the banditry, to the terrorism, and to the genocide in Nigeria. Most of them are governors. Some presently, some have served, some have been president, some have been prime minister, some have been chief of army staff, chief of defense staff, men that have held key positions in these nations. And they are there today. We need your help. I am tired of seeing bloodshed every day. I couldn't sleep. I saw this video, I couldn't sleep. This is why I'm making this video today. I lost my peace since yesterday. Because how could a human being do this to another human being in the name of a God? Nigeria can never be Islamized. Nigeria will never be Islamized. Not in my own time. Because evil have prevailed this long in nation of Nigeria because the righteous men have been too quiet. So I'm pleading with you and I'm calling upon you. Ensure that every citizen in Nigeria can own a weapon, just like you have it in the Second Amendment of the United States, where citizens have the right to legally possess arms to defend themselves. The Nigerian government are doing nothing to protect the people. To them, it's all about power, embezzlement of funds, and re-election. To the military men, some being faithful, but most of them are overwhelmed by jihadists. We cannot continue like this. Let the nation of Nigeria split. Because, like I said, we have never been one. The concept of one Nigeria has been the mirage. Let the nation of Nigeria split, or the citizens can possess arms to defend themselves. If the government cannot defend them, the military men cannot protect them, I think it is the right of the people to protect themselves. Please come to the help and aid of Nigerians at this time. It is getting worse every day, every single day. People in their thousands have been killed. Churches have been burned. Christians have become an endangered species. We cannot continue to live like this. I was a Muslim. I lived as a Muslim until when I was 21. And I tell you from experience that the motion of jihad, that the concept of jihad, that the mandate of jihad, trying to fulfill the vision of Usman Danfodio, so that the whole nation of Nigeria will become an Islamic nation. I want to plead with you, come to the help of Nigerians and rescue us from this calamity. Thank you and God bless you.
Well, you have heard that from a Yoruba man, a pastor, an apostle, like he said, from one of the churches. He was calling on Trump, calling on people to come and assist Nigeria, unlike before. Yes, having heard that, you are going to see this one also coming from another person, specifically calling on the 5 nations of United Nations, 5 strongholds of the United Nations, and the Secretary General at large to come and help Nigeria. That there is problem and this thing is becoming unbearable, that Nigerians cannot handle it. It's better they come and revisit the Aburi Accord so that people can stay on their own and live their lives peacefully. Listen to him.
Good day, fellow Nigerians. My name is Samson Akinola. Today, my advocacy goes straight to the United Nations Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, and all the 5 permanent members with veto powers. That is in respect of China, Russia, France, UK, and United States of America. Those are the 5 permanent members. I am seeking the audience of these 5 permanent members in Nigeria to help us to stop the Islamization that is currently ongoing in Nigeria. The aborted 1804 jihadist movement is reloading through the actions, through the utterances of the Fulanis in Nigeria, especially the Fulanis that are in corridors of powers in military. And that is one of the reasons why I stated clearly in my previous advocacy that the Fulanis have betrayed the national trust in Nigeria. And we don't want Fulani to hold any political post or any senior military officer post in Nigeria anymore, because they have betrayed the national trust. At present, there's Fulani jihadist movement loading in Nigeria. And that's why I inform all the 5 permanent members to guide us. The previous intervention of President Trump has helped us to calm the jihadist movement down a little bit. But at the moment, the jihadists have more revitalized again. In order for us to stop it permanently, please, President Trump and other 5 permanent members as well, and the Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, please, I'm trying, my advocacy is to avoid religious war in Nigeria through the Fulani jihadist movement of Fulanization, Islamization of Nigeria. If this civil war happened in Nigeria, the refugees will flood your countries, the West countries and African countries. In order to avoid this, please, it is better for the Western world to be involved on time before the jihadist war commences in Nigeria. And I appeal to all other African countries to team up with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because President Bola Ahmed Tinubu cannot do this alone. It is a pure fact. For example, the Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeder Association of Nigeria has been ongoing for years. No president have ever addressed or talked to the head of Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeder Association of Nigeria. That is in respect of Sultan of Sokoto. Nobody have ever addressed it because they cannot address the Sultan. Why Section 1, Sub 1 of the 1999 Constitution confirmed to us clearly that nobody is above the law in Nigeria. No institution, no nationality, no individual, no tribe, no group of tribe that is above law in Nigeria. But it is written in the Constitution, but in practical, it is not. The Fulanis are partially above the Constitution of Nigeria. That is why the hegemonias of the Fulanis are increasing on daily basis. And in order to stop this hegemonious attitude of the Fulanis, that is why we are raising this awareness to Nigerians. And we want anti-Fulani jihadist movement that will commence peaceful protests in Nigeria in June 2026 to ensure that we stop the Fulani jihadist movement in Nigeria together. And the only way to get this done is through pan-Nigerians. We need to team up together as a team to stop these Fulanis. The Fulanis are minorities in Nigeria, according to my various research. In one research, it classified Fulani to be 6.6% in Nigeria and about 15.3% population. In another research, it says Fulani is about 6 to 9% in Nigeria. And that won't give definitely the population of about 20 million. So having said that, so let's assume the Fulanis are 20 million in Nigeria. Or even let's assume they are 30 million in Nigeria. They are still minority. So if other 300 million, out of 300 million, let's say 270 million support this advocacy, we can compare the Fulani to hit humble pie in Nigeria. So what the Fulani does is they put fear into you first, so that you're not able to talk, you're not able to stand up to challenge them. That's why they put themselves in the strategic posts in Nigeria, all the key posts in Nigeria. They put themselves there. Why the Fulanis are part of the decision makers unit in Nigeria. That is why they could succeed in the issue of repentance terrorists. In any sanity nation, you cannot put repentance terrorists back into military system. Those repentant terrorists, they are the ones that have killed our gallant soldiers, destroyed governmental properties. Then how come on here? How did you want to analyze it? Now putting back into the military to go and fight. And the people you said that repentance terrorists, they haven't gone through any convention at all. And they haven't gone through any rehabilitation at all. They haven't gone through any remote section at all. They haven't gone through any probation at all. How did you want to classify them as repentance terrorists? This is part of the Fulanis in government. And that is why I said, this thing is above President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's power to handle. And that is why I'm seeking the help of the 5P powers in Nigeria. 1, the Russia, the Chinese, the French people, the United Kingdom, and United States of America. We need your help. Please, don't leave this thing alone until when the war starts. So, Secretary General Antonio Guterres, please don't leave Nigeria until the Fulani start their war. The purpose of this advocacy is to avoid this war and not to allow civilians to die anyhow. This will lead to the death of many civilians. At the moment, deaths happen every day in Nigeria through this Islamization movement. So please, ladies and gentlemen, there will be a peaceful protest in Nigeria in June 2026. The date will be confirmed later. Please join me and others in the advocacy, in the peaceful protest for anti-Fulani jihadist movement in Nigeria. We got to stop this together. We can stop this together. And that is my belief. And that is what I am doing right now. I will be in Nigeria. But before then, I will try to confirm the date for fellow Nigerians. We got to stand up with me to ensure we defend our nationality, to ensure we defend our ancestral land. Nigeria is bleeding. I don't want to lose any members of my family in this jihadist movement. In Yoruba land, we are 3 in 1. In my family, we have Christian, Muslim, and traditionalists. Now, let's go back to the south, to the eastern part of Nigeria. About 99.9% of the Hindigbo people, they are purely Christians. How would the Fulanis compel those people to become Muslim overnight? This will lead to many war again. This will lead to loss of lives again. And in order to avoid this, that is why I am inviting the 5P members of United Nations to come in on time. President Trump, we appreciate your presence. We appreciate your intervention last year, December. Please, we need more of that so that we can amputate the powers of the Fulanis. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu cannot do this alone. Please, come and join us. Have a lovely and wonderful day, Nigerians. And my regard goes to the 5P permanent members and the Secretary General of United Nations. Have a lovely and wonderful day. I remain your favorite human rights lawyer activist to the core and pan-Nigerians. Bet Omoluabi Yoruba ni mi. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, the Islamization the Islamization leads to Yoruba sovereign independent nation, aka Yoruba nation, that the movement have continued. So I've taken over the mantle of the leadership of Yoruba nation advocacy. Pa Akintoye is the founder of Yoruba nation. While I report to Pa Akintoye and Adona Kakanfo of Yoruba land, Gani Adams. So have a lovely and wonderful day. I remain your faithful activist of Yoruba sovereign independent nation, aka Yoruba nation. Have a lovely and wonderful day. Bye for now.
All right, my people, you have seen that the earlier the better. If not, these things will keep lingering. People will keep dying in their numbers. And I trust US. Yes, I trust US that there is big plan for Nigeria, to solve this problem once and for all. Well, we are still progressing. Let's watch this. When we come back, we're going to call it a day. Thank you.
Carry Dokubo don finally break the remaining cup. Say this man get 2 mat, get 1 mat. But as e stand right now, e don come outside, e come tell the general public, call the federal government that may they divide the country so that we no go into war again for this country, because if they see things.
We as a people must be able to have some modicum of respect for ourselves. We should have some modicum of respect for ourselves so that others will respect us. The fallout of this very insulting episode that had refused to go because it has exposed the fault line, it has exposed Nigeria, totally exposed Nigeria. It has shown that Nigeria had never been one. And it will be difficult to Nigeria to be one. And those who are not ready to be Nigerians should be allowed to have a peaceful exit. We don't need to fight ourselves. Thank you very much. We don't need to fight ourselves because some people want to leave. I'd always maintain this stand. And people say, oh, it is a few people that are doing it. What are you saying about a few people that are doing it? If the few people are doing it and the majority are in support of it, that means they have the majority opinion of the people. But that's not what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about one ugly narrative that had crept into these very, very insulting episode. Very, very insulting episode. One of the narratives, small that is getting into it, was that Dangote said. First, I want to make it very clear. I have nothing personal about Dangote, but Dangote is one of the greatest evil that is plaguing Nigeria. The monopoly Dangote have in Nigeria is killing, is evil, is un-Islamic. To bring in Dangote into this equation is to insult all of us. Is to play. We are experiencing. We are experiencing a threat, a very existential threat to our very existence, to our government. Instead of looking at this and addressing it, somebody is pouring petrol into it and talking about Dangote. Dangote is one of the biggest evil. One of the biggest evil. That is plaguing Nigeria. Let us take. Nobody knows about this, its mysterious refinery. is the more you look, the less you see. There are people in NNPC who cried, career technocrats, who cried out that most of the things Dangote is telling us about his refinery is lie. The acidic level in his product is so high, above international standards. Oh, we said they are bad people, they are corrupt people, they are this, they are that. They were removed. New people had come. And the corruption and this and that stopped in an NPC. The corruption and this and that, and this stopped in an NPC. We should be able to have an independent inquiry, investigation into the true nature and benefits derivable from these. The more you look, the less you see Dangote refinery. Dangote is asking for 100% monopoly. Fuel price had not come down. How much is he receiving? How much is he buying the crude? Is it at the same price that we sell internationally, or the prices are reduced for him? There must be full disclosure about Dangote and his refinery, because it is the resources. It is my resources that is being given to Dangote. So we must know 600,000 barrels is given to Dangote every day. How much is he paying for it? Or is it given to him for free? Because this was the argument, up and down argument, with the formal NNPC management. That because Dangote, these are lies. Let us have in this country, let us for once have an independent inquiry, investigation into what Dangote refinery is. There must be full disclosure about Dangote refinery. That the dollar will, that when we are paying the dollar at 1,500, doing our legitimate business, and Dangote will be giving dollar for less than 100 by the same government. All of us are citizens of Nigeria. We have the same stake. We will buy dollar for 1,500 plus. Dangote will take 100,000. Buy dollar at 100 naira or slightly above. And we bring product and sell it higher than even if it's buying at 1,500. And people are now telling us, Dangote, look, you can't deceive us. We know the truth. You can't deceive us. We know the truth. About 2 years ago, a bag of cement was 4,800 naira because I billed always. All of a sudden, he escalated the price to 7,000 something. Hey, Bua said they are going to reduce. They did all that. And at the end of the day, today in Taurus Ramapuri, my domain, the place where I superintend over, a bag of cement is 13,500 naira because you have to transport it by boat from Port Harcourt to Elen Calabar to Elen Tombia to Elen Mifoko. Even depending, Elen Calabar is around 12,000 something. Elen Mifoko is around 13,500. Something that was 4,800. The government itself came, complained, they want to peg the price, they want to do this. At the end of the day, head or tail, Dangote had won. He has impoverished people. People who are building have stopped their building. They have abandoned their building. House rent has escalated. It has a spiral effect. House rent has escalated. And that has affected all building material. 12 mm was about 1,200 or thereabout or something less. How much is 12 mm today? How much is 16 mm? How much is 20, 25, 30 mm? How much are they? Because Dangote, Bua and others have a monopoly and they increase the price. The government wants them to increase the price from 4,800 for a bag of cement 2 years ago to officially now about 10,000 a bag. What had happened? At the time that these it was 4,800. The exchange rate was even higher than 1,500. The exchange rate escalated. It was even higher than 1,500. Ade Baba, maybe you are sick or you are living in the moon. I'm hiding in the Republic of Benin. I will build my refinery. That's not a difficult something. I always say something I can do. Building refinery is very easy. If you don't know, it's not rocket science. NNPC had a stake of about 25 billion US dollars in that refinery. With 25 billion US dollar or less than 25 billion US dollar, that refinery can be built from scratch to finish. So it took our money, build a refinery, and through some few percentage equity share to us. They're talking about Dangote, we are talking of something. People are now talking about Dangote. The government is deliberately running out others who are interested in bringing cement. Rice, tomatoes, noodles, also on. Everything Dangote put his hand. He will increase the price to the extent that the people will die. When you have stupid idiot like Omoren, I am an Ijaw man. I don't need road to go to my place. I need boat to go to my place. The whole world is not connected by road. I didn't come to China by road. I flew. So when illiterates like you come to talk, when illiterates like you come to talk, you come and you start to talk. You should look at yourself and examine your head. God created the river. And the means of traveling amongst the job people is by boat. We are gentlemen of it. We can jump into the water and catch some fishes. So that is not an insult. That is not underdevelopment. That is our way of life. and we love it. Suffering and smiling. I'm jealous. Why should I be jealous of Dangote? See, I'm a Muslim. I have enough. If Nigerian population is 100 million, by the time they will count 1 million, I will stand out. So I have enough. I'm living in my little way. But the truth must be told. Nobody should bring Dangote into this discussion. He is one of the evil that is plaguing Nigeria, and Nigeria must quickly address this plague of Dangote. We must quickly address this plague of Dangote. We must quickly address it. So these are the things Dangote should not be brought into the narrative, because it's one of the things is one of the plague that is plaguing all of us. It's one of the affliction that is afflicting all of us. A proper independent investigation must be carried out on Dangote refinery and its activities. Nigerian government gave out a lot of funding to rice farmers in hundreds of billions. Rice was 6,000 when Goodluck was there a bag. Rice came up to over 100,000. Nigerian rice, after people had collected hundreds of billions. Nigerian aviation was supported with hundreds of billions. Today, Nigerians are paying more. Nigerians are paying more to travel from Lagos to Abuja, from Port Harcourt to Abuja, than traveling out of the country. A bag of rice was 6,000 when government gave out money. They want to boost and encourage local production. At the end of the day, we ended up with over 5,000 or more, 5,000% or more increase in prices of a product that was low, that was being imported. That was being imported. They are selling it at over 100,000. Now, the prices are falling, not because of them. The people can no longer afford to buy the rice. And prices have started falling. But they collected funding from government. Aviation collected funding from government. Dangote got about 25 billion of Nigerians' money that he would have used. That size of refinery was built in Iran for far less. That size of refinery was built in Iran for far less.
Anybody you see today that is talking against separation of Nigeria, or disintegrate of Nigeria, or to divide Nigeria, anybody you see that is against it, you see coming out of social media to speak, ask that person very well, do you genuinely enjoying the Nigeria? The person will tell you no. Call am for secret, tell say brother, but that way they talk one Nigeria, you mean he go tell you say no, but
yes, my people, you are welcome back from that video, and I want to tell you that we are going to call it a day today, and I am still Chinedu, your presenter. If you have anything you want to tell us, please visit the comment section and drop it there, and we are going to call it a day until I come your way next time. I say bye for now.